Hi, my name is Kat, or the Fair Librarian, and welcome to a new video. Um, it is now Wednesday evening, and let's start this vlog. So I'll tell you what I'm reading. Um, I'm reading A Court of Wings and Ruins. I'm a little over halfway, and I'm really enjoying this. It's definitely a lot more plot heavy than the first two books in the series, but I'm liking it. I think I still like book two a little bit more, but it's enjoyable. I'm invested. I am gonna try to finish it this week. I don't know if I will be able to because I still have quite a bit to go, but it would be really good if I could finish it this week. I'm also reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, which is the first book in the Dream Harbor series, which is a romance series that is very popular on TikTok. I'm 20% in and I'm liking it. Like, it's a pretty easy and quick read, but it's not like I'm super invested and I'm dying to read this. Like, I pretty much only read this when I'm somewhere else. Like, for example, I'm meeting up with a friend and I get there first, so I have like a couple minutes to spare. I can read like a chapter of this. That is mostly when I've been reading it, because like any reader is pretty easy to take with me, but I don't feel like the urge to read it when I'm at home. So I like it, but I'm not terribly invested. It's enjoyable, it's entertaining, which is actually all I wanted from this. So, and then I have one book that I will for sure be starting this week because it's a buddy read and we agreed to start it this weekend, and that is Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi, which is a sci-fi book. I'm not gonna read the back right now. But yeah, like a space sci-fi book that I'm going to be reading with Rebecca Nicole. By the time I start this, like when I've started this, I'll give you like a synopsis, tell you what it's about. But I'm really excited for this. If I haven't been reading a lot of like this type of sci-fi, like my sci-fi numbers for the year are higher than I thought, but that's because most of that is Castle in the Stars, which is like historical alternative history sci-fi, which is still like sci-fi, but it's just a little bit a different vibe from this. So I'm excited to start this. Yeah. I also went to the library today and actually to a bookstore, but I'll show you what I got, but it's more for like uni stuff than actually like books that I will be reading for funsies. But I can show you what I got at the library. First and foremost, I had a couple books that were on my December TBR that I didn't have with me here, so I went and got those. So I got Dreaming the Bull by Amanda Scott. This is the sequel to Dreaming the Eagle, the second book in the Boudica Quartet, and I'm a little bit nervous for this one because of how book one ended. Like, not that it's bad necessarily, but just this could go in a direction that I don't want the story to go in, basically. It's also shorter than I thought. Like, I think it's shorter than book one, or at least like the copy that they have in the library of this looks smaller than the copy of book one, which could be an optical illusion because it's a paperback. They have book one in hardback, so maybe it's just the edition that makes it look like that, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm willing to try it. So yeah, I also got Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, a historical fantasy romance that I've been wanting to try. That was also quite popular when it came out. Which is a 2020? Yes, 2020. So I've been wanting to try it ever since. Then I have Air of Fire, the third book in the Throne of Glass series, which I've been putting off for a long time, and I want to get to it. But it'll probably be a little bit earlier, or sorry, later in the month, because I'm currently reading Aquamarine. Like, I don't need like 2 Sarah J. Maas books like back to back. So, but this will be read because I am quite excited to continue the series. Then I have Heartstopper Volume 2. I read the first one, which I liked. I thought it was cute. Not a favorite, but you know, it was fun. So I want to continue the series as well. And those were on my TBR for the 2 months. And then I got a couple else that, like, while I was there, I thought, you know, why not just take them while I'm at the library anyway, that weren't really on my TBR, but I could still read them, of course. So first I got a nonfiction, Everyday Utopia, What 2000 Years of Experimentation Can Teach Us About the Good Life by Kristen Argotzi. This is basically looking at different societies, communities, groups of people around the world throughout history, but also nowadays, that, you know, do things a little bit differently than what we often consider like the norm and the way the world works. And so, you know, like a bit of positivity, you know, just to yeah, and just like, you know, expanding our minds a little bit, which is important. I sometimes I have discussions with people because people think that I'm naive and I don't understand how the world works. And that's not true. The difference is I just won't accept it. Like, you know, like Disney Project T, you have like it starts with like a bunch of people, they say like, oh, climate change sucks and the economy sucks and whatnot. And you have like girls like, how can we fix it? Like, I'm totally that girl. Like, just because I refuse to accept that this is how the world works doesn't mean that I don't understand it. Like, I don't, but I just see it as a temporary state of being that happens to be right now, but it doesn't need to be like that. And I think that just accepting it and saying that everyone who wants to, like, that if you want something different, you're like naive. I think that just isn't helpful. So this is a book that like really appeals to me for that reason, because I want some more ideas of like, how could we do things differently? Things that like we know that they actually work. Like, it's not just like a philosophical experiment, because it's these like structures that have existed or still exist today that have worked, and some of them still work today. So, you know, I like that. Then I also got book 5 in the Adventures on Train series. Let me check what the English title of this is. Hang on. Sabotage on the Solar Express. I really liked the first 4 books in this series. Like, it's not a favorite series and it's not perfect, but I really enjoy it. I didn't love book 4 though. But this is the last book that has a Dutch translation out currently. So when I read this, I'll be caught up with the translations, even though there is a sixth one in English. But so yeah, and they read pretty quickly, and they're just really fun and like, like I like solving them, or trying to solve them. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. Um, but so yeah, I'll be hopefully reading this. And then finally, I thought, you know what? Let's be ambitious. And if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I've been wanting to start the Cosmere for a pretty long time, and I've said numerous times that I wanted to do it, and that I was determined that whenever I said it was a time, and then it never happened. And I'm not gonna promise that it happens now because, but I thought let's try and make it happen before the end of the year. So I got The Way of Kings, part 1, because the edition that my library has splits up in part 1 and part 2, and they didn't have part 2. I think like someone had borrowed part 2. I mean, by the time I actually would start this and get to the end of this, like, like some time will have passed. So time for this person to return part 2, and for me to go get it if I want it. So I got part 1. Even though I do plan to read like part 2 right after this. If I like it, of course, like if I decide to DNF it, of course not, but because it is one book. So yeah, I don't think this series like needs a ton of introduction. It is very popular, and I wanna see what I think of it, like whether I like it or not. So, and you know what? Like, it's a 500-page book. It seems doable, even though it's only half a book. But it just doesn't feel quite as intimidating as like holding up like a proper brick, So yeah, that is what I got at the library. I told you also went to the bookstore, but that was to get Cyclops by Euripides and book 6 of the Peloponnesian Wars by Thucydides, which this I'm reading for a class. This I need for my bachelor's thesis, and these are pretty nice editions, like these Cambridge Greek and Latin classics. Like they're Greek editions, and then they have like commentary in the back, and they're really nice. I really like them. I also have a Plato one of these, and I quite enjoy them. So, I like these editions, even though they're not very pretty. I have different editions from a few other books. They definitely look a lot prettier, but are the worst to actually work from. So like nice to like go on a shelf. These are nice to like actually work with. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think that's all the updates I can give you. So sorry to start off with just showing a bunch of books that I can't really say anything about because I haven't read them. But it is what it is. So I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi, it's Friday morning, so let's give you some updates. So first, the pumpkin spice cafe, I'm at 27% now, and I don't know, like, am I getting invested in this? I don't know. It's parts of this are insanely cringe, and like I can't, like, I try to take this seriously, but I just can't. But at the same time, it's fun and entertaining. And I'm kind of getting invested in this. I don't know. This is weird. It's a very weird experience, but actually I'm enjoying my time. Like in a very like I mean laughing at it is too hard, but like you know, just oh that's cringe. But kind of you know what I mean? I don't know how to express myself. Um so yeah, I I'm actually quite enjoying this. Um I'll read more of this. Um I think I'll be able to finish it in this vlog. Probably not before the like this weekend, but in the week after that, I think I'll be able to. So that's nice. And then the other book that I'm reading, Aquawar, I got to about 2/3, a little over 2/3, the end of part two, and I am still really enjoying this. I am definitely liking the characters we're supposed to like and hating the characters we're supposed to hate. Especially one character. Um, and yeah, I'm invested in the plot, and I'm really enjoying it. Only I'm a little bit worried because, from what I've heard, which I said before on my channel a couple of times, this was supposed to like this was originally a trilogy, and then the two other books got added later. But I don't think that there's like enough page time left to wrap it all up. Um, and to have a satisfying conclusion that won't feel rushed. And so I'm a little worried about that at the moment. So yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. I like seeing like the different um like courts and uh people from the different courts, and just how the scope has really built from the first book. Um, and just got bigger and bigger in a very organic way. And I think that that is very, very well done. And I just enjoy seeing like the different places, and it's just so vivid. Like I know exactly what everything looks like. It's yeah. I'm really enjoying this. I would like to finish this today if possible, if not tomorrow. Which I think I can do. How many pages do I have left? Hang on. I'm at page 423 out of 613, so that's almost 200 pages, which is a lot for one day, but not impossible. Also because this reads pretty quickly, so I think I can do it. I'll be hosting reading sprints tonight, and I'll try to finish this during the sprints. So yeah, I'm having a great time. I'll talk to you and have an update. Bye. So it is Saturday. If you're wondering about the hair, I'm going to an event later today that is a Roman inspired thing. So it's basically like a Roman dinner party. So we're gonna have like some entertainment that is very Roman themed. The food, we're gonna have Roman dishes, like with Roman recipes, because we have some cookbooks from antiquity. So I'm gonna have some recipes from there. Like with ingredients that they would have had access to. They found like also a place that still makes wine the way it did 2,000 years ago. So it's gonna be great, and I'm already dressed up for it. I mean, I still need my accessories, but I wanted to get the hair done. I'm not sure if I'm totally happy with it, but yeah, we'll make do. Also get this weird like little thingy here that I just doesn't want to behave properly, and I don't want to like disrupt it too much, because every time I try to do something to make it better, like I mess something else up, and then I have some work fixing the other thing. So I'm just gonna leave it there. It's fine. But yeah, I'm really excited for that event. But I also am excited to tell you that I have finished A Court of Wings and Ruin last night. I hosted sprints last night. And my initial goal was to finish it there, but I was a little bit too tired, so I decided to just read the last like 60 pages in bed, so not on stream. So I did that. I really liked this book. I think it's a great conclusion. It's definitely a more plot heavy and war heavy, while still being focused on the characters and the dynamics between the characters, and just relationships with people, whether they be romantic or not, helping you heal from trauma and stuff like that. I do think that the ending bit was a little bit rushed. Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little too quick for me. Also, it just, I don't know, like a lot was happening and it felt chaotic, and sometimes the thing with these books is I find everything very easy to picture. But I the last bit felt chaotic, and then sometimes I would have an image in my mind of what would happen, and then something else would be mentioned. It was like, oh, so apparently whatever I had in my mind was wrong in some way. So yeah, I don't know. I did really like this still. I am still kind of debating between a 4.5 and a 5 star. I'm gonna sleep on that. Some of the character motivations of one character in specific made a lot more sense later on. I think if you've read it, you know what character I'm talking about. We have another character who gets sort of an attempt at a redemption arc, but I don't think that it redeems some of the things that he's done. But at least like their final actions in the series were good ones, I guess. So yeah, I still, however, I don't like Elaine, and I think that's a very unpopular opinion. I don't like her. She is kind of useless most of the time, and just I don't know. I find her a very frustrating character to read about. I don't love her. I do like Nesta though. I'm really excited to get her POV in like the next full-length novel, because the next one is like a Christmas novella, which I don't think like it's anyone's favorite in the series, but I do want to read it. And then, you know, like A Court of Silver Flames, where we get Nesta's POV, which I'm very excited about, because I love her romance that is being set up in these books as well. So yeah, I'm excited to read more in this world. So yeah, that is the first book for Bucket List-a-thon completed. Also, this wasn't my plan, but for my building a character for Magical Readathon, it does have these like thorn branches on the cover, and the branch on the cover is a prompt that I needed, so I'm gonna count it for that. But so yeah, I'm gonna go into my next roll. I do think that I will finish Pumpkin Spice Cafe this weekend, so I will potentially do 2 rolls. So what I will do is I'm going to be starting tomorrow Daydream of Terra-Two because it's a buddy read with Rebecca Nicole from Reads with Rebecca Nicole. And we decided to start tomorrow. So I'm going to do a roll, and if I'm able to fit this, with whatever I get, then I'll put this in and I do an additional roll for my new book. If not, then I will just do whatever the prompt says, pick that other book, and then start this, and then try to fit it in at some point in the future. So let's see what I get. So the last roll we landed on hyped read. So from here, what we could do is, if we get a 1, maybe we could go to the TBR spot here. I don't know if Do You Dream of Terra-Two was a Goodreads nominee. I would have to check that. But the TBR spot is just like a spinner wheel with books I have to read, and this one is part of the spinner wheel, so there is a chance that it would be picked, but it's a small chance, so preferably not there. With 2, I could have another TBR spot here, which is not ideal either, but there's a possibility there. If we have a 3, there is already, when does this book came out? Let me check real quick. Where is the copyright page? 2019. So that's like 5 years old already. Oh my gosh. So that could work. Backlist is also, I think, is kind of, I consider as a similar thing to an old read, or I could go to A Treat for You, because I could technically interpret that goal as, just that I can pick myself a free book. So that could be an option. If I get 5, I can go to a buddy read, which is of course perfect. And I think for 6, intimidating read could also count because it's a little outside of my comfort zone. So I think that for a lot of numbers, we can find something that works. So let's see. A6. So I said intimidating read, but let's see what else I could do. 5-star prediction. I don't think that Do You Dream of Terra-Two will be a 5-star though. So I'm back here, which I could definitely do. It is on that list, but then I back at this corner. Well, I still need those 2 corners, so I'm not going to do that. Again, I don't know if it's a Goodreads nominee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Live could technically be possible. Comfort, it's not a comfort read, and I already said it's not a 5-star prediction, so I'll go to intimidating. And then put on Do You Dream of Terra-Two for that, and then roll again for my new book. It is a 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 series. So let me get some options. So the first roll I got was intimidating. So as I said, I'm gonna go with Do You Dream of Terra-Two because it's a little intimidating to me. Just like hard species sci-fi is not something I tend to read a ton of, and so it's a little outside of my comfort zone. So I'll go with that. For the series one though, I have some options and I really don't know what I want. So I could just continue on with this and read the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, like dive into the second book immediately. That is an option. It won't be too long to read, and I am quite enjoying the Pumpkin Spice Cafe in some way. So this could be an option. I also could read The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, which is the second book in the Six Crimson Cranes duology. So I'll be finishing a series, which is really nice. I also have Mammoth at the Gate by Niveau, which is the fourth, I think, book in the Singing Hills cycle, which is a series that I've been quite enjoying. So that is also a possibility. I also have, I keep forgetting what the English title of this is. Let me check. Sabotage on the Solar Express, which is the fifth book in the Adventures on Trains series, which will get me caught up with the Dutch translation of this series. There is a sixth book out in English, but that one hasn't been translated yet. So this could also be an option. I also have Heartstopper Volume 2, the sequel to Heartstopper Volume 1, obviously, which I read in April, and I quite enjoyed it, so I could continue that series. And then my final option is Dreaming the Bull by Amanda Scott, the second book in the Boudica series, which I'm a little bit hesitant about continuing right now, just because, you know, like where the first book ended, this might head in a direction and I don't want the story to go in. And so a little bit nervous about that for that reason. But so let's eliminate something. I do think that while I'm actually kind of in the mood for Dreaming the Bull, I think that in vibe and like required brain power and mood that I personally will be in when I want to read this, it'll be a little bit too similar to Do You Dream of Terra-Two? And so I think I'm gonna wait with this one until I finished Terra-Two. Then out of these other four, which one can I eliminate also? I don't know if I'm in the mood for a middle grade mystery, so I'm gonna eliminate Sabotage on the Solar Express as well. And honestly, I also don't think I'm in the mood for Heartstopper right now. So that one's out too. So I still have three options left, which is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, The Dragon's Promise, and Mammoth at the Gate. Pros and cons for each of them. The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore will be a very different vibe from Do You Dream of Terra-Two? So that'd be nice to read them simultaneously, then they won't get mixed up in my brain, and I also will have something to read depending on my mood while I am reading them, so that is good. But also, do I want to read it straight after the Pumpkin Spice Cafe? I'm not sure. So that is that one. Mammoth at the Gate, I really enjoyed the series. It's also very short, which will be nice, but I don't know, because it does require quite a bit of brain power to read these. And if we have to Dream of Terra-Two as a brain book, I don't know if I want to read this at the same time, so I think I'm actually going to eliminate this one now. The Dragon's Promise would be really nice because I have already started it, and because, you know, it's on my 20th book story in 2024, it's on my priority series to finish. It's been on so many TBRs and I still have not finished this. So I really want to. But it is also fairly long. And also, do I really want two speculative fiction stories that I'm both reading in English at the same time? I'm not sure. So actually, what I think I am going to do is just jump into the Cinnamon Bun bookstore whenever I finish the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I am going to you know, allow myself to change my mind on that if I want. I'm gonna allow myself to pick something else if something else really piques my interest right now. But for now, I think that this is going to be the one. So yeah, I'll talk to you when I've read some more in either of them. Hello. It is Tuesday, and I have updates. Let's start with the Roman dinner that I mentioned. It was a lot of fun. Like the food, I was a little worried with the food, what it was going to be, because I can be pretty picky with my food. Like there's a lot of things I don't like. Um, so like, if I go to a restaurant myself or something, I can obviously choose a dish that I will like, but this is just like you don't know in advance what you're gonna get, like you can't really choose. So I was a little nervous, but it turned out great. The only thing is, the Romans didn't use a lot of like spices and seasoning and stuff, so everything just tasted a little bland. But that was fine. Dessert was fantastic. So yeah, I really liked it, and then we had like some gladiator fights between courses, which they went hard. Like it was epic to see. Like they were actually fighting. Like the fight wasn't staged. They were like actual fighting. It's just their weapons were blunt, so they wouldn't like seriously injure each other. But other than that, like the fight was totally real. And then with one of the fights, the gladiator that lost was like, so they staged that, and then he had to be carried off to like the next room. But he was still alive, right? Like it was like walking around. But after that, thing was fine. It was just, it was great. It was a lot of fun. There was music, which was great, and just I really enjoyed it. I came home from it at actually a pretty decent hour. I did not expect to get home as early as I did because I was home at 11. Um, so it was actually pretty doable, but the day after that I was so tired. So I just napped um on Sunday. And I didn't do much. Um, what I did do is read. And I had told you that I was going to start the Do Dream of Terra-Two. I was going to finish Pumpkin Spice Cafe. No, I did none of that. I started a book that I read when I was a teenager, which is Raven 1, which is the first book in the Slaves series, which is a YA dystopian, futuristic, that I wanted to reread. There's 8 books out currently. But I never really continued the series, even though I did like it. So I wanted to try and reread it, see if I still liked it, and if I wanted to continue on. I started this Sunday at 4 in the afternoon. I didn't read it at any other point than on Sunday. So this is just Sunday between 4 in the afternoon and then 10 in the evening, which is when I went to bed, or 11 maybe. I read over 200 pages in that time period. I am almost halfway through, which is crazy. This reads so quickly. I mean, yes, it is a reread, which are always a little bit quicker for me. But even then, it is insane how fast I read this book. And I'm really enjoying it. It's holding up so much better than I thought it would. I was a little worried about this, like a little nervous going in, but it held up really good. And there are so many things that I missed as a teenager that are so clever and just so, like I can see that this is very much rooted in reality. So, what this is about is the economy has really collapsed between now and when this book takes place. And, like the very wealthy people got only wealthier, and then poor people got poorer and poorer and poorer, and then like the layer in between that kind of disappeared. And it became so bad that unemployment rates got so high that people started accepting pretty much any terms if that means that they could get a job, get food, whatever. And through that, slavery became a thing again. And there is this special class of slaves, I will say, that it wasn't there at first, but came in throughout the way, that are being especially trained from a very young age to be seductive, to be intelligent, or at least like know history and stuff, have schooling. They can read, they can play music. They're really beautiful, usually physically, and so they are not supposed to like truly work, but to keep their masters company and to be a companion, and that can also take physical aspects and stuff like that. So we follow Raven, who at the start of this book is in her final year in one of these schools where these kind of slaves are being trained, and she has always been taught that because they're so expensive, they are only for like the wealthiest, which is why they can be successful, because the wealthy people want to show that they're wealthy, and so they're like, oh, I can afford to pay so much money for someone who's not even gonna work for me or not even gonna give me profit for it. See how rich I am? That's basically what they are. And so she's like, oh, so they must treat us very well because they paid a lot for us. Like we're an investment, right? Not taking into account that these people are wealthy enough to get a new one if theirs is broken, and that actually that even shows more of their wealth, and also that to become that successful, empathy is not your biggest characteristic. So yeah, it might be a little less idyllic than what she thinks it will be. And so she is really scared for that, and she impulsively asks from a super high ranking person, like she has never met someone that high ranking before. They usually don't even come to that part of town, because you know, like, too many, like, not wealthy people. And she just goes up to him and like, I want you to buy me, and which is very unheard of, and she would not be allowed to do, but this guy is like, you know what? This is something unique, this is something I haven't had before, and I'm kind of semi-impressed, so you know what? Sure. And he was like, semi-good, I guess. I mean, he's big, he's still, you know, part of the system and very successful in the system, and we see a lot of times that he is definitely part of the system, but I guess in comparison to the other people, like, if you're gonna rank everyone who's part of the system, then he would probably be among the nicest. So and then things go from there. I think it's very, very interesting. We get some information on how we got here, which I think is very, very good. I think I really like that we get to see that there are so many people so far down the line that are just part of the system without realizing, even those that are being oppressed through it, or that, you know, like, people who are sort of like an in-between category where they're still like free people, but they're just not nearly as high up and high on the social ladder as these super successful people. Like, they are being oppressed in the system as well because they can't, or the people in power won't allow them to be truly successful in life. But still, they are also oppressors of those beneath them, and I think that that is something that is shown very well at the beginning of every chapter. Let me show you. You get like this sentence or two. They're assigned with S, and those really show that idea of someone who is both oppressed and oppressor. And I think that you can see how he is just so delusional in a lot of ways, and like, not mentally not okay. But also you can kind of see how, even if this isn't not cause every part of it, like, it did give him a space for those, or them a space for those, you know, actions and thoughts and stuff. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would. And I'm really excited to continue reading this and then continue on in this series as well. So I am writing that. I'm not gonna roll for it right now. I don't know if I'm truly gonna. I had the series prompt. I haven't started something for that yet. I don't know if I'm gonna use it for that, just because I would like to keep that for a continuing series. This is the first book in a series, which, yes, technically I wanted to reread in order to finish it, but I wasn't really considering it as a series that I was in the middle of, so I don't know if it counts. Maybe it will. I'll see. Sorry for that. I'll see next time I roll. So yeah, that is this. That being said, I also did start Do a Dream of Terra-Two, but I'm really not that far into it, as you can see. I'm on page 42. So I can't tell you a lot, but what I can tell you is is about. So scientists have found this other planet that is very similar to Earth in pretty much every way, and so they call it Terra-Two. And so now they need people to go there and see what is out there, if it's inhabitable, etc., etc. And so they ask a team of 6 people, but they recruit, or when they're recruiting people, they say like people that are like 12-ish years old, and so they can train them for a couple of years, and then they can go into space, and then it's 23 years of traveling to Terra-Two. And so we follow some of the people that have been selected for this mission. And so far we just get the really heartbreaking reality of what they're leaving behind. But also, if they wouldn't go, like, they have spent such a large part of their life training for this thing and being like going through tests, and because they started with a lot of people and then narrowed it down to make sure that they have like the best people truly for the mission. So the ones that are being rejected or can't go, like they have spent basically their entire teenage years wasted, essentially, preparing for this thing that will never happen, which is very sad. But then the other ones, they have to leave everything behind, knowing that probably will never see it again, which is also very heartbreaking. Especially if you're gonna have parents who are gonna be guilt tripping their kids into not going, and I'm like, this moment is really hard enough for them. Oh my god. So yeah, I find it very interesting for that reason. They haven't gone into space yet, so I can't say much about it. I do like the writing style though. It is at the same time very easy to read. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been tired. I had space on my notes because I haven't had a ton of time, or it was interrupted a lot while I was reading this. But I am always surprised at how little of this I've read, because I feel like I've read more of it. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah. Anyway, those are the updates. I'm going to be tonight reading some more of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, because I also haven't finished this, because, you know, one, I always overestimate how much I get done during the weekend. It's a thing that you're probably used to by now. But also, I was a lot more tired than I thought, so I didn't read as much as I normally do. And then the time I did spend reading, I spent reading a book I didn't anticipate reading. So I haven't finished it yet. I am not going to finish it tonight probably, but I will make some progress in it. But I think that I'm going to end the vlog here, actually, because it's already Tuesday night. So yeah, I don't know. This feels like a little bit of a weird week. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you read this week, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye!